morning. It's such a pleasure to be here. Such an honor. I received a little message a couple days ago asking me to come and speak to you about attitude and I was like, good, that's my story. I'm not gonna have to make it up because they told me it was here. I was like, I hope I don't have to talk about math. The only problem is they only gave me 15 minutes and this story is like years in the making. So I'm gonna try to make it short. I'm gonna try to make it, I'm not gonna be able to. But let's try. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is how important it is to keep your minds open and always stay active. Dream big, dream impossible. Think of that thing that since you were a little kid made your heart skip a beat. That thing that made you have butterflies, and please not the person next to you, the actual thing that made you have those butterflies. And go after it. Don't stop. Don't ever stop. Life is going to throw punches. Life is going to want you to stop. And it's up to you whether you stop or whether you keep on going, whether you push forward, whether you fight another day. When I was about 8 years old, I was watching TV with my parents. What was on TV would change my life forever. It was the opening ceremony of the 1984 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. I asked my mom, what's that? And she said, oh, a sporting event. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, it happens every 4 years. Oh, no, because I'm like, oh, good. Why didn't we watch it last year? She's like, no, it only happens every 4 years. And she went on to explain that these people spend their entire lives, their entire existence, to have just 1 minute of glory, 1 minute in front of the world. And that's the Olympic athlete. For me, I was like, man, artists, man, they get to sing every weekend. Like, why don't you just sing? You know, that'd be a lot simpler. But there was something about these athletes. There was something about this event that captured my imagination and became everything that I wanted. And from that moment on, I said, I'm going to be an Olympian, no matter what. I was on my way. I was pretty good. I was swimming. I was a really good swimmer. I was swimming in the Center for Olympic Development in Mexico City, but my parents had other plans. They moved to a smaller town, Querétaro, which only had a very tiny, small swimming. You're from Querétaro?
No, but I know it.
Okay, good. They only had a small swimming pool and a very small team, which actually dissolved after I got there, so yeah, good luck. But I had the dream. And I was not going to stop, so I kept on swimming. Even though there was no team, even though there was no coach, I kept on swimming. Presented with the opportunity to go to the Olympic Games was because I never stopped. My dream was to become an Olympian, but that dream was shattered with the swim team situation, right? No. Then it was shattered by the knee situation, right? No. When I was getting ready for Kona, I had a discussion with a couple of friends. They were arguing that they hated when runners posted about their runs. So I let them talk. And then I said, well, guys, do you realize we actually hate when you post your drinks? I mean, you're going to get a medal for 2 whiskeys? Good job. And the discussion went on, and one of them confronted me and said, well, hey, your sport's not that hard. I mean, I see all these Gorita ladies that do the Ironman in 17 hours. What's so hard about that? I'm like, give it a try. He said, well, no, why don't you give it a try? I'm going to send you an article that talks about a sport that you've never done, and this is the hardest sport there is. So he did send me the article, and the article was about a sport that I had never heard about. Mind you, I was only 39 years old, so for most Olympians, that's a little bit too late. But for me, it was the beginning. The article was about cross-country skiing. A beautiful sport that we can practice right out here. We got all this snow, all these beautiful mountains in our beautiful Rio Grande Valley. And so I was like, why not? I mean, cross-country ski. How hard can it get, right? Well, it did get pretty hard. But you see, a lot of the media like to talk about how I made it to the Olympic Games in just 1 year. And you know what? They're wrong, but they just want that fancy story. It took me my whole life of never stopping never taking no for an answer, and always smiling. It gets worse, smile. Even worse, smile. What's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, you die smiling. You're happy. So, smile I did. And I started skiing, and from the first day, well, actually, before I started skiing, I was competing in an Ironman triathlon, and this guy, Vero, of course, and he knocked me down, and I was out for 3 months. So even starting cross-country ski was a challenge. So I started cross-country skiing. A lot of people thought I was crazy. Actually, there's a lady here that thinks I'm crazy. She's the head of the butterfly center, and she would see me go up and down, up and down, up and down with my roller skis and my pulling a tire, and not knowing. She would say like, oh, she would point out at me. She's like, oh, there's this guy. He's training for something. What is he training for? God only knows, but he's training. He's out here every day, so he must be training for something. And I was training to try to qualify for something that no one in our community had ever done, for something that no one in Mexico had ever done. There was a Mexican, but he didn't qualify. When he only had to sign up. And I was only 42 years old. I was pretty young, right? Ripe age for Olympian. Having to learn how to ski with all the mountains we have here, all the snow, pretty simple. Yet, I never gave up. And the problem got even worse because I didn't have any money. So to go to the snow, to go to the mountains, I had to sell my triathlon bicycles, I had to sell everything I had, and then started asking for money. That was the most tiring part of all. Training was easy. Calling people and telling them, like, hey, guess what, I have a dream. I'm gonna go to the Olympic Games. And then people would be like, come on, you're 42, right? Yeah, you have 3 kids. Why don't you go back home and just take care of your kids? It would probably be a little bit easier. And I probably knocked 100 doors and only 3 or 4 of them open. But that was all I needed. That was all I needed because when I finally decided to take the last plane, the last trip, the last chance to qualify, we had gone through all these countries, 15 different countries last year. We went to, and I'll mention them just so you know what I mean when I say that I had to sell everything. I went to Michigan 3 times. I then went to Turkey, Bulgaria, Iceland, Chile, Argentina, Colombia, Hawaii. That was pretty cool. No snow there, by the way. Germany, Austria, again Turkey, Poland, Czech Republic, Armenia. I always get people with this one. No one has gone to Armenia. I think I'm the only one. I think I started tourism in Armenia. Iceland again, and finally South Korea. So yeah, now you see why I mean, like, I really needed money. So when we were on the last leg of trying to qualify, and when I say we, I mean me and a couple of friends, because we did form this international team of, at first we started calling ourselves Misfits, but then we just switched it to the Exotics. I didn't like the term exotic, but then when I compared it to Misfit, I said, well, I'll keep exotic, it's okay. The tongue and flight barrier, Peter Tapatefua, Jonathan Fernandez, Klaus from Ecuador, the first ever Ecuadorian to participate in the Winter Olympic Games. And when we went to that last race, I flew to Iceland with a one-way ticket because I had no money for the return ticket. And when we finally qualified, I was so exhausted that we couldn't celebrate my qualification, and we had to get back because there was a storm coming. So they literally carried me to put me in the trunk of the car. But we had been celebrating everybody's qualification. So when we came to the Olympic Games, and leave it to me to have a hard day at the Olympic Games, you know, I mean, Not that I had had any problems with the swinging, with the knee, with all these things, right? I had a fever the day of the race, and everybody noticed it. And I was having the worst day of my life. When I started the race, I think I had to read the WADA standards for anti-inflammatories because I was feeling so bad. I was like, okay, where's the dose? Where's the overdose? Where's the medical overdose? And where's the anti-doping dose? I said, okay, ibuprofen, 800 milligrams. I'm down, 800 milligrams. And that's the only thing that actually helped me to get to the starting line of that race. And I was having the worst day of my life. I kept on thinking about just how miserable I felt, how miserable I was, and how unlucky I was to be having the most miserable day of my life on the one that was supposed to be the best day of my life. I had actually fulfilled my dream of becoming an Olympian, and there I am having the worst day of my life. But then, there was a finish line. I remember, why am I doing this? And I thought to myself, mind you, I was like 185 beats per minute. My heart was like, what was I doing? Why am I doing this? And because it makes me happy. So I smiled. I saw a Mexican flag, and I said, what the heck? Let's just grab that thing. And I grabbed it, and I almost fell because I had never skied with a flag and on my poles. And you know what? I said, let's enjoy this. So I skied with the flag. The stadium just went crazy. And the next thing, all of my friends were there to greet me. Because we had greeted every single one of them when they were coming in at all of the other races. And they were waiting for me. Because I had always greeted them with a smile and a big hug. And they were there to greet me with a big smile and a big hug. Because I changed the attitude, and because I crossed that finish line with that big smile, the image was retweeted 2 million times. When I finished Pita, my friend saw me, and I told him, my friend, we fought another day. He gave me a big hug, and he said, no, my brother, we fought till the end. If you allow me to start, I'm going to take a quick selfie. Thank you very much. The selfie is actually a video, so y'all can be as loud as you can.